you ready to take your viewership of Craving Something Scary to the next level? Are you ready to enjoy exclusive perks such as early access to select videos, the ability to suggest video or live stream topics, private live streams, and the opportunity to even appear with me on a live stream of the channel, and much, much more? Well, if you're ready to become an official Cravenite, you can do so right now by joining my all-new Patreon. So when you visit patreon.com/Craving Something Scary, you'll have 5 different tiers of membership to choose from, and each tier adds more perks. Plus, while you're enjoying the benefits of being a channel patron, you're also helping the channel to continue growing and helping me to bring you more of what you want to see and lots of surprises along the way as well. So visit my Patreon page right now. I look forward to you stepping into the inner circle to become an official Cravenite. Thank you so much for your support.
Hi everyone, this is Mathieu Kadar, and I'm the Ghostface in the opening scene in Scream 6. And yes, I'm the one who kills Samara Weaving, and you're watching Craven Something Scary.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, visitors, subscribers, and of course, my amazing Cravenites, otherwise known as my patrons. Guys, so nice to have you here tonight on Saturday night. And we're starting a little bit earlier than usual because my guest tonight, it lives where it's much, much later. And I appreciate him making the time to stay up late and be with us this evening. So it's going to be fun. And before I bring him on, I do want to say hello to the chat real quick and acknowledge you guys. And again, I really appreciate you being here. I know Patricia Taylor's here, Denisha. What's up, Denisha? And Jan is here also. Good to see you. Helping to hold down the fort as moderators. Kevin Johnson is here. Hey, Kevin. All right, RJ is here. Says can't wait for this. Always down to talk Scream. Absolutely. And we have Julie in the house. Hey, Julie. Also one of my moderators and great part of our community. So good to see you, Julie. Paula again. Paula's here. Hey. Casey Tibbs is in the house. Hey, Casey. Glad you could make it tonight. All right, who else? Let's see, making sure I got caught up. And oh, Gene's here. Hey, Gene, good to see you. And also want to mention before we get started in our discussion that there's a couple things you can do tonight on the stream. First one is if you would like to become an official Cravenite and come into the inner circle of the cult of Craven, you can do so right here. Thank you, Denisha, at patreon.com/Craven Something Scary altogether. And go to that page right now, and you'll see 5 tiers of membership to choose from, offering different perks. And all of them, though, support the channel and really helps to keep the lights on here, guys, to do more streams like this one and other videos and bring you the content that you guys want to see. So it really does help a ton. So I would greatly appreciate it if you're able to go check out Patreon. And hey, man, I would love for you to join while the stream is active so that I can thank you in real time, which is the coolest thing. So I have my Patreon open now, so I'll be monitoring it. And should you join, I will get a notification. All right. And the second thing is while super chats are temporarily down in YouTube for the channel, you can still send them through PayPal. So if you have a PayPal, all you have to do is go there and put the amount you want to send in and send it to at mental relaxation right there. It's also on the ticker on the bottom of the screen. And put your super chat message in the box. There's a message box in PayPal. Simply type your comment or question, and I will be able to see it. And I promise you, you'll move to the front of the line tonight. Because as you guys know, because of restraints of time and volume, there's no way to get to everybody's questions. It's just not realistic. However, super chat questions or comments, you give my personal guarantee that you'll get that reviewed with my guest and I, and we'll talk about them at PayPal. So go to PayPal at Mental Relaxation, start sending those in now, and I'll move you ahead of the line. Also, throughout the stream, my moderators have Callum's information so that you can follow him on Game Rant and read his latest articles. There's the link that takes you directly to Game Rant and his page, and it has his latest articles listed there. So that's going to be something I want you to do whenever you when the stream is over. So they'll continue to put this link up as the night goes. And also, you can follow him on Instagram, on his own Instagram page. And there. All right. So, guys, I'm so excited to introduce my guest. He has written some incredible articles on Game Rant, many of which I have discussed and covered in some of my videos. And I'm very excited for him to come on tonight so we can talk Scream 7, talk some theories, and just have a good time. Just have a good time. That's what it's all about. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm so happy to introduce him because Callum Murray is the individual on behalf of Game Rant that officially knighted me, if you will, as he says, as the leader of the Stu is Alive movement. And so I'm very honored and was very shocked when I read the article. You guys, I did a video on it. You've probably seen it. And so let's bring him on now in appropriate style, because one thing about Callum that I know is he's definitely a Stu fan, and he's all about Stu Macher getting it up, man. And sometimes we need to do that. So please, before I bring him on, let's do it. Here we go. Let's get it up. Let's go.
Yeah! I'm ready, baby! Get up! Get up! Get up! Get up! It was fun.
Callum, there you go,
Hello.
man.
That is the
Hey.
best entry to a show ever. I love it.
I had to do it, man.
Yeah.
Welcome, bro. It's nice to have you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me here. It's and hello to all the Cravenites as well.
Yes. It's
yeah,
a treat.
It's great to be here. It's going to be fun.
Absolutely, man. And I'm digging the background, bro.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's. I had a hammer and some. I think it's actually a throw, like
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so bit of makeshift handiwork earlier.
Hey, man, it looks awesome.
Thank you very much.
Hey, real quick too, before we start diving in, just want to say hello to Melissa who's joined, as well as Apollo. What's up, Apollo? Um, glad you guys are here also. Make yourselves at home. And Wrestling God is here as well. All right, good deal. So, so Callum, let's kind of start with. I'm just really curious about how long have you been with Game Rant? Because that's really cool, and you write some incredible articles, man.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that, and it's been great to. I mean, the first time when you made a video about one of my articles, and I've been watching your channel for years, and I was shocked and I'm really really pleased. Obviously,
Oh,
it's such a compliment. So I've been there just over a year now. So
okay.
yeah,
Wow.
not too long, but it's been great. It's
Yeah.
it's just great to write about this film and this franchise. It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, you can tell by your articles that you have a real passion for Scream, and it's very clear, and which what makes it's part of what makes the articles so fun to read. You know,
Oh,
because you're really into what you're talking about, and you can really tell. Um,
definitely. Yeah,
so yeah, man.
when you start writing one, you just escape into it because, and then you have to sort of tell yourself that this is supposed to be work, but it's not. Not
There you
work.
go.
Writing
Yes.
about screaming for you when you're doing your videos.
Yep.
This is passion. This is what it's all about, isn't it?
It is, man. It really is. I can totally relate to that, man. It's being able to talk about something you love and other people
Yeah.
love it as well. And it's
Yeah.
just this great community. And I just love the Scream fandom in general,
Same.
man. Mostly really, really good. There's, every fandom has its toxic sections, of course.
Yeah.
That's everything. But for the most part, man, I think the Scream fandom is awesome. Really good people, man.
Yeah, definitely. I
Yeah.
completely agree. And the horror community in general. I mean, when you go
True.
to conventions, I don't always love being in massive crowds, but when it's
Yeah.
a convention and it's your people, it's different. And
Yes. Yes.
it's amazing. So yeah, the horror community in general is amazing, but the Scream one in particular is on a different level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Um, real quick, Talking Star Wars has joined the stream as well. Hey there. Glad to have you tonight. Um, so I thought what might be fun is to just kind of start with some of your latest headlines or articles, rather, regarding Scream 7. And um, I mean, you know what? I mean, maybe I'm a little biased, but I got to start with the article that I was stunned to read, where you and Game Ran out gives me the official endorsement of being the leader of the Stu is Alive movement. That's a big honor, and I really appreciate it, man.
Oh, I'm glad you appreciate it. This has been going on for a few years, and I've been watching these videos, and
Hmm.
just kept on thinking, that this could happen, and it'd be
Yeah.
largely down to you.
Oh.
And the passion for it as well, and also even if people aren't on the stew train, which get your
Hmm.
tickets now,
That's
get
right.
that train revved up because it's going to happen. But
Yes.
that's fine if people think differently, then that's
Absolutely.
amazing. But we're on that train.
Yeah, man. I'm so excited, and I think there's with so many clues and breadcrumbs in 5 and 6. It just like everything's pointing this direction, and I just
Yes,
really hope they pay off and give us the payout, on that.
definitely. And even the fact that obviously there was loads of things, as you say, in those two films, and the fact that Sydney's now back just makes it more
Yes,
likely that it's going to happen because she's directly linked to the whole stuff with Stu. So
that's right.
it's more likely than ever.
I
And
think
as
so
we
too.
saw with Kirby, which obviously I mentioned in the article,
Hmm.
people were saying for years that she was dead. The fans wanted her back, and she came back.
Hmm. Sure
So
did.
as I think you've said on a couple of occasions, if you're not shot in the head, you can come back.
Yes, that's
Well, it's
it.
true.
That's the only. It is, man. That's the only qualifier, man. If that hasn't happened to a character, you could always bring him back. I mean, you could.
Exactly,
Uh,
definitely, and there's a lot of people that think the same.
yeah.
You know that it could happen, and I mean, imagine if it did. It would just be the
Oh,
best feeling ever, wouldn't it?
it would be unbelievable, man. It would be surreal because it's
Yeah,
like I've been wanting it for so long, and to see it actually unfold as you're watching the movie, I
yeah,
would just be it would be like a, you know, head would
mind
explode
blown,
moment.
definitely. In fact, I've got a question. So the
Yeah.
whole stew, just to get some background, it'd be interesting to know.
Hmm. Yeah.
Was it from the first time you saw the first film that you thought, hang on a second, he might not be dead, or was it something that happened over the years that
You
made you?
know, that's a great question. Uh, Remembering back to when I first saw it, it was so much to process because the movie was so amazing. And
Yeah,
I think it was probably not at first. It was probably more like every time I would watch the movie more and more and more and more and more, I would think to myself, well, hold on a minute. He does have his hands up
yeah,
to embrace the fall. And
absolutely.
then I'm like, and the TV's only about 3 feet off the ground.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's not that high up.
No.
And so, all these things started building up in my head.
Yeah.
And by the time it was all over with, I'm like, no, he's alive. I just like woke up and said, no, he's alive. There's no
Yeah.
doubt in my mind. And I've been holding that view for ages, man, years and years and years now.
Yeah.
And that one day he would come back. And especially, when we found out the original plan for Scream 3
Mm.
with Stu coming back alive. And I'm thinking to myself,
Yeah.
if Wes Craven had a way for Stu to come back alive, then, even though they had to scrap it because of Columbine,
Yeah.
um, that to me, that doesn't change the fact that he's still alive. Because in Wes's mind, he was,
Yeah.
and Kevin's mind at the time as well.
Yeah.
And just real quickly to refresh everyone's memory, in case you're watching, maybe you haven't heard this story yet. Let's hear it from Matthew Lillard himself. Here we go.
Well, I have an incredible piece of trivia, which probably nobody really knows. That Scream 3 was in pre-production, and I had actually been hired to come back in Scream 3 as the killer. And then when Columbine broke out, they scratched the entire script. They scrapped it. Because it had something to do with high school and taking over kids and making them do terrible things. And the producers were like, Wes was like, we have to, I mean, Bob was, can't go this way. And so I actually was paid to be in Scream 3 and never had a chance to fulfill it.
There you go.
Yeah.
From the man's mouth himself.
Exactly. It's crazy, isn't it? And in fact, he talked again about this. He was at a convention in Manchester 2 or 3 years ago that I was at, and he told that story again. And it's you can't argue with it, can you? It's I think you've
There we
frozen.
go. Frozen. Okay, I'm back. So last thing I heard you say was the crazy thing is, and I lost you.
Yes, yes. He's kept this story up, and he told it at a convention a couple of years ago that I was at in Manchester, over in the UK. And it's why would he say it if it wasn't true?
Oh yeah, exactly. There's no point.
No.
And it could be, you could have hundreds of people, or maybe at least dozens of people that could easily say that's incorrect. But I'm going to take the word of Matthew Lillard over
Same.
someone else who's got a theory on it. I think I'm going to trust him. So,
Absolutely. In fact, that there was someone who I saw a video a couple of weeks ago that said that
mhm.
they worked on the film, but they said it wasn't true. But it was someone that wouldn't have that information.
Yeah, right. He got to have a script. It's
Yeah,
never
exactly.
that's I mean, that's not many people if you
No,
think about it.
definitely. I think what we should do is we should, get Matthew Lillard to come out with his bank statements and say, "Look, I was paid."
That's right. Here's my check.
Yeah,
And
definitely. No, it was going to happen, and the idea, from what I've heard about it, would have been brilliant.
mhm.
And it does
Yeah,
link into the cult of Ghostface, which
sure does.
rumors have it that that's going to be the focus in this new one.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Absolutely. And I'm gonna ask you something about that theory. But before I do, I want to say hi to Kevin and Mr. Beer is in the house. Hey, Shark Recliner is here also joining, and my good friend Michael, the Carbonite Jedi, my partner over on the Movie Bros React channel. We have a channel together. Says, I think it will be Nev will be the first death. Dude, come on, Mike. All of a sudden, she'll wake up realizing it's a dream and she will call Dewey to calm her nerves. Well, okay. I could get behind that. I, I'm normally not a fan of retconning stuff, but you know what? I'm okay with putting the Carpenter's movies, Callum, as their own category, like the Carpenter Chronicles, and we
Yeah,
just kind of set them to the side and they're there. But or just go back, make this a direct sequel to the fourth movie, which I've talked about a lot. Just make this a real Scream 5 kind of movie.
yeah, definitely. I mean,
So,
that's an interesting point because I did do an article recently about
hmm
5 and 6 being ignored.
hmm
So they're still canon, but
yeah,
they're not going to focus on them. So I think they are very much their own thing.
yeah,
Um, so I think in many ways this one will be a sort of sequel to 4, and they're going to sort of not talk about stuff in 5 and 6. Now, for some of the fans, that'll upset them, but at the end of the day,
it
this is
will.
Sydney's story, so
Yep.
deal with it. Yeah, no, it's it. The new one, I think, is going to be great. I think they'll do a good job.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. It's very, very exciting to see how exactly they're going to do this. And what was real interesting too was I noticed that Nev, in a recent interview, said that she was hoping to have the final script by the weekend of that
Yes,
week she was in. And I'm like, that means there are tons of rewrites. I bet
yes,
you Kevin Williams is just grabbing that script and going to town with it, man.
absolutely, and that would be great if he did because
Hmm.
I mean, 1, 2, and 4 were amazing.
Yes,
I'll be honest. I think I'm similar to you with this. I love them all.
I do too.
And it's a case of there's ones that are
Hmm.
better than others, but I love them all.
Same. There's not
Yeah.
one that I think is bad. Um, and it's I have some that I are more favorites than others, but
Yes,
I love them all though. I could
definitely.
anytime. Um,
I think that
yeah.
obviously
So
the first one.
absolutely, man. And now there's an article that you recently wrote that I'm actually working on a video of. I'm working on a video of the article that you wrote regarding
Fantastic.
uh, the Five Nights at Freddy's, which is
Yeah.
this is really interesting because, well, why don't you just share kind of the big idea of the article? Folks can go and read it. I'll be posting a video about it tomorrow. So in the meantime, give the big idea of the article.
Okay, sure. Yeah. So basically, everything was set to start shooting in September for Scream 7.
Hmm.
That got changed to December, and then Matthew Lillard goes on a podcast. It was a Scooby-Doo podcast, wasn't it?
Yep.
And he says they're going to start shooting Five Nights at Freddy's 2 in October. So
Yes.
that's not going to run for much longer than 2 months. It would free up his schedule to start work on Scream 7 in December. And that's the basis of the article. And there's a bit in there where I talk about the fact that Neve Campbell, there's no way she would say the real reason. She's blamed it on her schedule and Kevin Williamson's schedule. But, you know, she's going to say that to cover up for the real reason, which could be Stu coming back.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's how I read it.
No, me too, man. And
yeah,
there's no way she's going to let the cat out of the bag. She's not, there's no way.
No way.
You know, but to say her and Kevin, that's safe because everyone knows that they're both on the movie. You know, he's directing, she's there. So it doesn't cause any issue.
Exactly.
But, man. The question, though. Oh, yeah, go ahead. No, it's okay. That's okay.
No, I was just going to say, I completely agree. You know, they're not going to come out and say, oh, actually, the real reason is
right. Yeah,
Matthew
Lillard's back.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But it's interesting actually because did you see the interview with David Arquette when he talked about all the old people getting back together for the?
I saw that all the original back together.
Definitely, and I kind of thought, you know, maybe he's referring to more than just Neve Campbell and Courtney Cox. Maybe he's referring to and obviously Kevin Williamson as well. But maybe he's referring to more people.
It makes you think. I mean, could he be talking about himself? Even I don't know.
I mean, I did do an article about the possibility of Dewey coming back in some form of, you know, like similar to Randy in Scream 3, where he's got a video that tells Sydney and Gail some information that they might have not known. And that could be something about Stu. Maybe he knew something. You know, it's always, you know, it's always made me think. And I think he would make a video because he took over Randy's position as the person who, you know, sort of gave out the rules in Scream 5.
That's right.
You know, and I don't know. I could see that happening.
Absolutely, dude. I think it would be fun, and it would be an homage to Scream 3.
Sure.
Which, you know, and which is cool, but it would be done in a different way. Obviously, it's not Randy, it's Dewey, and he would have his own way of doing it. But
sure,
yeah, man, I think that would be awesome if we're going to keep 5 and 6 canon, which they probably will. And this takes place after 5 and 6. Then the only way Dewey can get back in it is through something like that. You know, we can. Or a dream sequence or something like that. But
definitely, I think to have him back in some capacity would be great.
It would.
You know, it's such an iconic character. I mean, I remember watching that scene in the cinema, and it was devastating. It was, you know, what do you think about Dewey's death?
I hate it, man. To be honest with you, when I watched Scream 5, and it's the sequel I watched the least, but when I do watch it, I fast forward.
I do the same.
I fast forward the whole scene. I'll watch it up until the point they get to the elevator.
Yeah,
and then fast forward. I skip past it, then I restart it again. I just don't. I can't see it, man. It's awful. I mean, I'm sitting there. Grown man in the theater, crying my eyes out in the theater with all my 6 people with me. I was just bawling like a kid. I couldn't help it.
Yeah, same. It was funny actually because I watched Scream 5 with my brother, who's 2 years older than me. He knows how much I love this franchise. He doesn't love it as so much. He likes it, he enjoys it. But when Dewey died in that film, he reached his hand over to me and just put it on mine. And usually
Oh.
I would bat it away and say, "Get off me!" But actually, I needed it in that moment.
Oh, I
And
understand.
yeah, it was. Having said that, I could see where they were going with it. Creating stakes, which is fair enough. But it just
But
really, I hated it.
but here's the thing, man, and I get that, and I get that mindset. But then what do? They go around in 6 and take all the stakes away that they built
Yeah,
with Dewey. It's like a wasted death because now everyone lives, even Chad with his
yeah,
17 stabs in the torso. I mean, come on, man. I
yeah,
told this story the other day again, but I had the Matthew Coder, who actually opened up the beginning of the stream, who killed Samara Weaving.
yes,
He was in the costume. Well, he was one of the guys that were stabbing Chad. It was
yeah,
him and Max the Ferrier were the people in the costume doing the stabbing.
right,
And when we talked about that scene, it's in the interview, you can go back and see it.
sure,
He actually starts laughing at the idea that Chad survived. He started laughing, and I was like, oh gosh, I don't know if I should laugh or not because I don't know, like I'm torn. But he started laughing, like he's like, "There's no way you would live through that." I'm like, I mean,
yeah.
he said it. Um,
Yeah, it was insane, wasn't it? It was, and
yeah,
they
it
kept on
was.
coming, and I was like, "There's no way." And
Yeah.
to be honest, even in the fifth one, he gets stabbed quite a lot in that one as well.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, yeah. He
I
has a
think that,
total of 7, I think it was. It was 24 stab wounds in a year,
oh,
in 1 year time frame.
yeah,
I
that is,
mean,
yeah. If he can survive, Stu can definitely survive.
yes.
And I think
Oh,
that's a good basis for a good argument. Uh,
yeah.
that he is alive. The fact that the characters since have
Mhm.
suffered such horrendous injuries and survived.
And survived, yeah.
Yeah,
Dewey, I mean, Stu Monker was stabbed 4 times. Chad
yeah,
was stabbed 24 times, and he's alive.
yeah,
And people say, "Well, what about the electrocution?" Well, there are documented cases of people being struck by lightning and survived. That's
yeah,
nothing compared to that with his hands up, slowing the impact down.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, there absolutely. I'm like, I don't want to hear anybody say Stu can't be alive after Scream 6. You just,
Absolutely.
yeah,
And that is the perfect argument right
hmm
there.
yeah,
That
yeah.
and even the other characters, to be fair, Gail got it pretty bad in the sixth one as well
She
and
did.
survived.
That's
Um,
right.
I think she was stabbed in the same place as she was in the fourth one. Is I could be wrong.
Maybe I have to think about that.
Yeah,
It may
I'll
be.
have to. It's a good excuse to watch it again. Um,
That's right.
yeah, definitely. But
Oh,
there's been so many, and you just think there's no way he'd survive that. I was glad Chad did survive because I did really like his character.
yeah.
He was brilliant, but yeah,
True.
it was
True.
stretching credulity on that one. I think.
For sure. Hey, real quick, I want to say hello to a couple of people that have come in. My good friend, good brother, Knight from the Night Watch Zone has a great channel. We stream together weekly. Good to see you, Knight. Glad you're here, buddy. And also, another great content creator who I've had on the channel once, as on the live stream, is Sister Pam. And Sister Pam, welcome. Glad you're here. Says Matthew Lillard's been so vocal over the years about Stu coming back. Now that he's calmed down a little, I think it's a sign something's in the works for 7. As you said, they would never admit it. That's right. You
That
may
is
be
very
onto
interesting.
something. Yeah.
Yes, he has quietened down a little bit, hasn't he?
Yeah, he
Um,
has.
and I think it is a case of, uh, he's not talking about it because he probably can't. Whereas
Yeah,
before he was quite vocal, wasn't he? He was
very vocal about it. Like, yes. Now, in fact, someone messaged me. They were at one of the conventions recently, and they were like, he was asked about, "Are you in Scream 7?" And his response was, "Oh, I can't discuss anything about Scream 7." That's what he said, something like that. I'm like, what?
now
Ooh.
that is very interesting because at the convention I saw him at, it was completely different. I think he
Oh.
even came out and said he definitely wasn't in the film. I think it was the fifth one that was coming out. It was just before the
Okay.
first one came out,
Okay.
and he said, "Look, I'm definitely not in 5, but possibly, he obviously wants to come back." So that's
Yeah.
interesting that he's changed his tune and
Yeah. No
he's not saying
comment.
anything now.
Yeah. Basically, no comment.
Wow.
So I'm like, well, okay. Also, hey, want to say hello to Jeff? Jeff's in the house. Good to see you, Jeff. All right. Don't forget, everybody, send in your super chat questions. I have Callum here with us. We're talking Scream 7. And if you've got a burning theory that you want to make sure we talk about tonight and we get Callum's and mine perspective on, I can promise you all super chats will be covered. We'll get to as many others as we can, but you can send it in simply to @mental relaxation. It's on the bottom of the screen on the ticker, and send in your super chat and your message in the box on PayPal. I'll get the message and we'll talk about it. Okay. And speaking of talking about it, let's see here. I do have a couple here, Callum, that I flagged from earlier, and we'll start going through some of these comments again. We probably will not get to all of them, but Apollo said, "Yo, Craven, it would be nice to bring back Neil Prescott and Hank Loomis for Part 7, bringing it back full circle." Yeah, so they're both alive because, Callum, remember, Scream 4, there was a deleted scene where Dewey said something about him after the first time Sid's been here since her dad passed away. But that was cut out of the movie, so it's not theatrical canon. So that's how
Yes,
I look at it.
I totally agree with that, and it's interesting you mentioned that because I did an article about Neil Prescott coming back in Scream
Mhm.
7, and I shared it on social media just to see what people thought, and there was a
Yeah.
real mixture. There was some people saying no, he can't come back. He died in 4, and it's like it was deleted, so it
Yeah.
doesn't count.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It just not. It
so
doesn't count.
yeah, some people think differently, and that's fair enough. But as far as I see it, you know, it was taken out of the film, so it can still happen.
Yeah. Bingo.
And
Me same.
yeah,
And
so I did
mhm.
one about that a couple of weeks ago, and the reaction was interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I just make the argument that if it's not in the theatrical cut, then it wasn't something Wes wanted included in the story. It didn't
Yeah,
happen,
yeah,
basically. So, um, and like you say, some people still disagree with that, and that's fine. But that's just how I see it.
yeah,
Now, talking about Hank Loomis, he's definitely still alive. There's never been anything or discussion about him being there. But my thing is, the time to have brought Hank Loomis back would have been better for Scream 5 and 6
yes,
because of Sam. And you had the
yeah,
Billy Loomis connection and all. So now I don't know that it makes any much sense to bring Hank back unless there's some dark secret we don't know about from '96. I don't know. Or did he
yeah,
help Stu? Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's a possibility. Um,
possibly, yeah. I mean, there was you did a video about
hmm
possible masterminds.
Yes,
And it was
that's right.
I treat it as like a joint sort of venture when if I do
hmm
an article and you've
Yeah,
got a video, it's almost like a piece that they go alongside each other.
I
And the
agree.
thing with Hank did come up, didn't it? Because
Yep.
there's a possibility that he could be a mastermind.
Mm-hmm.
It was always a shame that we only saw him for that very
I
brief scene in
know.
the first film, and then actually there was some footage in the third film, wasn't there?
Just a little bit with him walking out the motel
Yeah,
balcony with Maureen. Uh,
definitely.
yeah.
Other than that, he's been nowhere to be seen.
No, nowhere. And like I say, now I think he still could be a mastermind, but I think with Sam gone, with Sam there, it would be a real connection. That was her granddad. So there was
Absolutely.
actual, blood relative.
Yeah.
But I think most likely, in my opinion, the Hank Loomis ship has sailed, and it's just a matter of whether they bring Neil Prescott back. To
Yeah.
me,
I
and
think as
we'll.
well, especially with Sydney's kids,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you'd think there'd be
yeah.
some role for him in that, even if it was similar to Scream 3 when
Mm-hmm.
he was around.
Yeah,
Obviously, came to visit Sydney when she was, in the middle of
yeah.
nowhere.
That's right.
Uh, Something like that. It doesn't have to be a lot, but just to sort of recognise that he was such a massive part of the
Yeah,
original film. Um,
you
it
bet.
was all based around. He was the big red herring, wasn't he?
Big time. Yes.
Yeah.
In
So
fact, I suspected him for a lot of that movie when I first saw it.
yes,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, the first time watching the original is just such a. It's almost sad that you can't get that moment back of
I
watching it for the first
know.
time.
I know. It's
It's
so sad. It's one time.
yeah.
Uh, and yeah, that feeling is just, I mean, I remember being in the theater watching it, and it was after work one night. I said, I got to go see this
Mm,
movie. And man, I just was in heaven because it had everything that I love. Great slasher. It's a whodunit murder mystery,
yeah.
and it had an amazing twist.
Yes.
And so I just it punched all it punched all the boxes for me.
Yeah.
And to this day, I mean, like I say, I can't tell you how many times I've seen it, but it's I consider it pretty much a perfect movie. I
Yes.
wouldn't change anything in
No.
that movie.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Same. In fact, I watched it about 2 nights ago.
yeah,
There was
nice.
nothing on TV, and I was like, "Well, it's got to be Scream, isn't it?" So, and do you know what? It gets better every single time I watch it. It it's incredible. I can't believe it. It's just such a special film. Oh,
There we go.
right.
Darn
You're just
internet.
leaving me in suspense.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Um, Now, let's see here. Let's see if we got any more. Got some more questions that have come in. Da, 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 da. All right. Um, Now, Talking Star Wars has a theory he wants to share. Says someone gets wrongfully accused of something, and perhaps he kills Kincaid in prison. The motive, 15 years for being wrongfully accused. Okay. He kills Kincaid in prison. Interesting. Well, I don't know, man. I have to give that some thought. So basically it would be like a revenge Ghostface wrongfully accused,
I
maybe.
mean, the wrongfully accused element has obviously been around since the start, so that would be quite interesting to revisit,
Hmm.
in a sort of cotton weary kind of way.
That's true.
But would Kincaid maybe be visiting this prisoner?
And maybe that's it.
Prison,
Yeah.
maybe.
Maybe
Uh,
visiting and something goes awry and you paid off the guards and
yeah,
boom. He doesn't make it out.
yeah,
Um,
definitely. What
yeah.
what do you think with Kincaid? Do you think he'll still be involved in law enforcement in some way?
Man, I was wondering. I think he definitely could be. I could
Mm,
also see him being retired. as
Yeah,
well, easily being retired.
yeah,
So I think it's going to depend mostly on like what do they want to do with his character and how much are we going to get of him in the movie
yeah,
too. Are we going to be only going to get him for, like, I don't know, a quarter of the movie or half the movie? I think it
yeah.
would be fun if he was in law enforcement just because he's all connected still. But
Sure.
there's something to be said too, Callum, though, if he's retired of kind of being, you kind of stay at home dad, husband with Sydney. I don't know. I mean, I don't really think I have a preference on that. Do you? What do you think, man? Do you have a preference?
Yeah, not particularly. I think either angle could work because it was quite interesting to see Dewey not in law enforcement anymore.
Yeah.
It changed the character, which was really interesting. Put him in a new place.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it'd be quite cool to see him if it is going to be like we talked about with the setting of Sick. If it's going to be somewhere
Yes.
that's quite sort of remote, maybe he is the sheriff of a small town, something like that. Would be quite interesting.
Yep.
Um, but
That could work.
he was an FBI agent, wasn't he? So I don't know if that's a logical step for a Hollywood FBI agent. Oh no, he wasn't FBI. It was
He was a detective.
he was just a
Yeah,
detective. Sorry,
homicide detective.
it's
Yeah,
late.
I know it's late for you, big time.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know why I had FBI in my head. I think it was probably something I was writing the other day about FBI, and
with
of
Kirby also was in the FBI, so
course that's Kirby. Um,
it's
but
all good.
hey, maybe he is in the FBI now.
Maybe now that could work too.
Yeah,
There
and
and if they do want to bring Kirby back, which I just saw Talking Star Wars just asked the question, will Kirby back? If they do want to bring her back in this movie, this could be interesting if she's still in the FBI and if Kincaid is now in the FBI, there could be a connection between
sure,
them through the FBI, and that's how you
definitely,
bring them together. Um,
sure. There
so I
was
don't know.
that's interesting that questions or that subject has come up. Uh, so I've literally just this week done two Kirby articles.
Mhm,
One was about the possibility of her having her own spin-off,
mhm.
and the possibility that it could also feature one of the core four. Have you heard that rumor?
I've heard the rumor that that she could possibly have a TV series, Spirit spin-off on with Kirby being the focus, but I haven't read anything into it more than that. No.
Yeah, I think it was Critical Overlord. He
Mhm.
mentioned it very briefly in one of his videos, and he
Yeah.
said that there's a possible. He's heard something that it could be a Kirby spin-off with one of the core four, but he didn't say which one.
Ah.
But the article that I wrote was kind of pointing towards it being Mindy because they couldn't possibly. It's obviously not Sam or
Ah.
Tara.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be Chad because they didn't have any, sort of connection in Scream 6. So it'd have to be Mindy because they really vibed together, didn't they? With that
Yeah.
horror movie knowledge.
That's right. They had the whole connection there in the shrine
Yeah,
and Kirby's like, there's the TV that killed Stu Macher and Mindy's like, yeah, if you believe he's dead. I'm like,
yeah.
yes, there you go. That's right.
This is the thing they've brought it into.
Yeah.
It exists in the
Yeah.
films.
It does. In the Scream universe, they're actually questioning whether
That is
Stu is dead.
incredible, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's
it
you know,
is.
and that is because people like yourself have kept the train running, and
Yeah, buddy.
they've had to bring it in as an
Yeah.
official.
Mhm.
It's in the films.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So
Hey, we got a super chat here. And it just now updated. So Jasper, thank you for your super chat for $5. Help supports the channel. And their question is, or theory, says, why can't they bring back Dewey since Roman numerals screams like Scream 5 and 6 will now return to Arabic numerals Scream 7, just the numeral 7. Scream 5 and 6 with the Roman numerals, could be the creation of Gale that were made into movies. Dewey is still alive, married to Gale, still sheriff in Woodsboro. And Gale and Dewey have a 13-year-old daughter who is a diva like Gale. Wow. Okay. So to sum this up, then, it looks like the suggestion is that Scream 5 and 6 with the new Roman numerals, those are basically Gale's creation. They were Gale's wrote, though there are books that Gale wrote that were made into movies. They're not real. Like we actually saw essentially 2 stab movies is what Jasper's suggesting. And then everything else is still the same. Dewey's still there. They're still in Woodsboro. He's sheriff, and they have a daughter. Now, what do you think about that idea of Scream 5 and 6 being a fiction? They were end up being fiction written by Gale.
It's an interesting idea. Personally, one of the things I love about the Scream franchise is that it's kept this continuity for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at something like Halloween, as much as I really enjoy those films, I did enjoy the a couple of the new ones. They've had to retcon so much, and I don't know. It could work, but I'd like to see them, even if they aren't going to mention 5 and 6 too much, still be very much part of the part of the series. Really.
Okay.
What do you think?
I mean, it would. I'm probably leaning towards that too if I had to pick one, because when I think about Scream 5 and 6 as basically stab movies, essentially. I mean, I don't know. Look, let me put it this way. Would I be upset if they did that? I would not be upset about it. I would not make a big fuss about it. So I guess that tells me that answers the question for me. I guess I'm more neutral on this. Like, if they leave it alone, I'm okay. If they were to, if they were to go this route, I'm okay too. I really am. I think I'm okay. And of course, having Dewey back, man, that covers a lot of stuff, man.
Yeah.
And so
he was such a good character, wasn't he?
He was so good.
Yeah. He was. In fact, he was at a convention again. I go to HorrorCon every single year. It's an amazing time. I absolutely love it. And he was at one of them, and I was like, well, I can't just go there just as myself. So I grew myself a nice little mustache, dyed it, and I got the full Woodsboro police uniform.
No way.
And met him, and he was he was amazing. And I said to him, absolutely gutted you died, and you could tell that he was still gutted himself.
Yeah. Yep. He still is upset about that. I think I really am.
Yeah.
He loved that character, man. He loved playing Dewey, and whenever he said in that article that he didn't know he was going to be dead, he was reading the script. And he found out he was going to be dead in the script. No one told him.
They should have
ahead
told
of
him.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's cold, man.
Yeah.
To not give him that. Yeah.
Lack of respect, I think, in that regard.
Yes.
He was he was the OG. He was.
Exactly.
He was one of the. That didn't sit right with me. And it was also the scene, which needs to be fast forwarded for forever long for the rest of the time. Was so brutal as well, wasn't it? It was very it was overkill.
It was overkill, and remember he was killed just the way Stu Macher described how do you gut someone,
Yes.
and was
Interesting.
the only killer, or I should say this, he was the only victim in Scream 5 killed in that manner.
Yes, definitely.
Hmm. Just
And
saying.
also as well, I know we have to, sort of suspend our,
Disbelief.
disbelief sometimes.
Right.
But it takes a man to do something like that.
That's great. I love
I
it.
had to do it. I had to do it. But it's true. It was quite a brutal fight, and
Yeah,
he was struggling a bit, wasn't he?
definitely.
Yeah.
Hey, Super Tenor. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Yeah, for sure, for sure. And yeah, I just don't buy that. That's the person that killed Dewey. I just don't see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I'm with you on
Yeah,
that one.
yeah.
It's yeah, it doesn't sit right. So yeah, maybe it was, and he was.
Mm-hmm.
The origins of the cult were as far back as at least Scream 5
Yes.
is a possibility, but they've got to do it. I think they're in a position now where I think they have to do it.
I think they need to win as many brownie points as they can with the fan
Definitely.
base. And breaking Stu would be. I know there's a sect of fans that don't want that, and that's fine. But
Hmm.
a ton of people do,
Yeah,
and it would be huge for the box office if he's
definitely.
there.
I think even the ones that don't want it secretly want it.
And that could be too. Yeah, exactly.
They're like, no,
Oh,
okay then, all right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It-
We got some more questions I'm going to get to here. We're going to start to wind down pretty soon, guys. So as we're going through these questions, remember you can send your super chats in, and I'm monitoring it now. I'll make sure you get your question covered or comment. Okay. All right. Let's take a look here. Okay. Let's see. Wrestling God has a question for us. Um, do you think the real reason why Stu says um, that he always says is because he's trying to hide his real pain as a killer because he's trying to hide his own emotions? You think the real reason why Stu says that he always says is I'm trying to see if I understand what you're saying. Are you talking about how he's always joking and always like kind of like the class clown kind of thing is what I'm thinking you're asking. And if so, is he doing that to try and hide his real pain? I got you. So under the assumption of that, Callum, um, what do you think? I mean, if this is, I mean, Stu is a psychopath, man, and typically, with real genuine psychopaths, they don't have the kind of emotions that they're acting, right? That a lot of their act to do is to try to appear normal. And
Sure.
so, what do you think about that? I mean, do you think that he's the joking class clown kind of character um, because he's genuinely trying to hide his emotions, or maybe purposely hiding maybe his lack of emotions?
I think it could be his lack of emotions because uh, he's so outwardly uh,
Yeah,
excitable, isn't he?
he is.
And I think that's to hide his true, obviously what we see comes out at the end of the film. But what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think so. And Wrestling God clarified it and said, while he says the jokes is for saying he was trying to hide his true pain. Yeah,
Mm.
I got you. So we were right on that. That's what it was. Yeah, I think it's more like psychopaths. They have a missing component that you're supposed to have, which is like sympathy and all those things where you relate to people and and I think that it would be more of him being an act. And, now as far as the way he's always laughing, the way he's always having, laughing, joking, that's legitimately part of his personality. He's just a happy killer. I mean, it's possible. But we know that he's a thrill killer.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think falling in line with, if we're going to keep it more along the realism track, it would be an act. Yeah, you would be doing it deliberately to cover up.
And wouldn't it be interesting to see who that guy is now?
Yeah.
I think Lillard did an interview a couple of years ago where he said it would be amazing to play this character again after so many years.
Yeah, man.
He was a boy when he played him originally. He was just a kid, and to revisit that would be, as an actor, he would obviously love that.
Oh yeah, being able to be back in those shoes again. Oh man.
Yeah, scarred, very scarred.
Very scarred. That's right. Now, Jen has got an interesting theory. Jen is an OG. She was one of my very first in my first 5 subscribers to the channel.
Oh, cool.
We go way back. She says the cult of Stu is led by Stu, Gale, and Kincaid. Oh my gosh. Could you imagine? Like, I would have to be doing double takes left and right. Gale involved with the cult and Kincaid. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, she's definitely got a little bit of a screw loose somewhere, hasn't she?
Yeah.
I
does.
don't know if she's a killer. Again, it's all down to how you see it, really.
Yeah.
But we don't really know too much about Kincaid.
We don't.
So, possibly.
I mean, was it Nev? Sydney asked him, what's his favorite scary movie?
Yeah.
And he's like, My Life.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, we don't know what that means. And so, yeah, there's a lot of mystery. You're right with Kincaid. Who knows what we may learn about him if they want him to go to be bad. It would be such a betrayal. Could you imagine the betrayal of Sydney all these years?
Yeah,
man.
Definitely. I think it would maybe be a step too far.
Yeah, I think so. I think it might be as well. All right. Guys, we're going to do a couple more questions here, and then we're going to call it a stream. This has been, it's gone by, we're already well over an hour now, and Ken's still going.
All right, it's flown by.
It's flown by. It really has. Talking Star Wars says, do we think Scream 7 will be Gale or Sid's last Scream movie? Callum, what do you think? Why don't you start?
I think it could quite possibly be Gale's last one.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I mean, the amount of time she's nearly died, I think they may choose to finally do it, and I don't want to see it. Similar to Dewey, I don't want to see that. Yeah, what do you think?
I mean, I think as well, it's very possible. Gale may say, okay, I'll do one more, and then I'm going to, go out with a bang, and that'll be it. Yeah. I definitely could see that. Although, I don't know if I mentioned it on this stream yet, but if they keep the 4-month film timeline, they could be filming 7 and 8 together. And if that's the case, then she may survive 7 and die in 8.
Absolutely. Maybe an opening kill.
That's right. Maybe the opening in 8 to die.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
And
but
I think obviously with Sydney, I don't think they'll ever kill her.
I agree. I think she's off limits.
Yes.
Yeah, she's off limits.
In a way, I mean, I completely agree with, but it does create a bit of an issue with the next film because where are the stakes if you
Right.
believe she won't be killed? She said that she won't come back uh, if they were going to kill her.
Yep.
So where I suppose the stakes lie with her family.
It does. Everyone else is fair
Yeah,
game.
yeah,
Kirby,
definitely.
Gail, Kincaid, I think they're all in play to die, possibly. But
Yeah,
yeah, when you see Sid attacked, it's not going to have the fear factor for her,
no,
but you know, um, it'll still be fun to watch. But you know, yeah, if you know she's not going to die, then
yeah,
you're not really that worried about her. You're just like, okay, let's get a good fight scene, a good action sequence.
absolutely. Yeah, and I think there'll be some good ones.
Yes, yes, I do too.
Definitely.
Awesome. Okay. Let's take a look here. All right, we'll go one more question here, unless someone sends a super chat in to keep the stream going with another question, in which I'll keep an eye on it. But here we go. Shark Recliner sent in a question. Says, "What if they do a Scream 4.5 as a commentary on in between sequels, like Saw X?" Exactly. Yeah, exactly right, Shark Recliner. This and Callum, this is something I've suggested. Is that follow the Saw 10 model and make this Scream 4.5.
Yeah,
So it's before the events of 5, but after the events of 4, and we just pick
yeah,
up.
I could go with that. Yeah,
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 doesn't affect the canon of 5 and 6. They're in
no,
play, and we're just getting to see a movie in the history. We're going into the past instead of the present.
yeah,
And
definitely. And I,
so,
I think something like that has obviously worked with Saw,
yeah,
and even going back even further before. I think you've mentioned this before about a prequel to the very first one.
yes, that's another option. Yeah,
Yeah, which would
yeah.
be very interesting. I did a couple of things about Maureen Prescott's murder and how that could be
Mm-hmm.
shown on screen because we've never got to see that. But
Nope.
maybe they could go a little bit further back.
Yeah, man. That's right.
And
That works too.
yeah,
And I mean, it would totally, it would be cool to see a prequel to this franchise.
definitely.
Uh, but yeah, man, whatever they decide to do, I just hope it's done really well, and I want it to be a really good whodunit mystery again,
Yes,
where we're trying to figure it out, all the way to
yeah,
the end,
definitely.
and that's what I'm hoping for. Hey, Keon, good to see you, man. We're actually about to end the stream, but the good news is you checked out the replay. There's a lot of great conversation with Callum tonight, and so you definitely want to. And same for you, Fear the Phantom as well. Yeah, I know that I've heard the rumors lately, Callum, that it's going to be the more brutal Scream. I'm like,
Yeah,
well,
I heard.
we heard those rumors for 6 too. Remember, it was going to be the
Yeah,
most brutal Scream,
yeah,
um, darker movie. I mean, I take all that with a grain of salt.
yeah.
We don't know. I mean, it could
No,
be, but
yeah,
that's why I haven't done a video on that, because it's just a theory out there. It's just, I mean, nothing wrong with that. But
sure.
yeah, I'd rather talk about what are genuine theories, like we don't know, like it could possibly be like some of what we talked about tonight.
Sure.
Um, but what do you think? Do you think do you want to see it get darker and more mean and brutal, Ghostface?
Yeah, I think I would. Although I don't necessarily think there needs to be, so Scream Six there was a lot of
Hmm.
kills in six. I think that was the biggest body count out of all the films. I don't think it necessarily needs to be bigger. I think
Hmm.
maybe less kills, more brutal could work.
Yeah.
Is that your thinking, or are you up for a
Yeah, man.
brutal?
Body count.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I'm honestly, this is another one of those topics where I'm kind of neutral. Like I'm more. I mean, I think more brutal kills are fine, but I also don't want him to get away from the good old Buck 120 knife that is Ghostface's weapon of choice.
Yes.
So I don't mind an occasional kill in a movie with something different. That's
Yeah.
fine. But weapon of opportunity, what have you. But yeah, man, I just whatever they do, I guess here's how I cash out, man. I just want to see a movie that feels like a Wes Craven Scream film again.
Yes.
That's what I want. And the details are fun to talk about, and we can get real granular. But at the end of the day, I just want to walk out of there saying, I think this is the closest to a Wes Craven Scream film I've ever seen.
Yes. And I think the fact that Kevin Williamson is directing, I think there's a huge chance that'll happen.
Me too.
I mean, he knows his franchise. He created it,
Yeah.
So I think it will go back to the Wes Craven, and he learned so much from him
Oh
over the years
yes.
working with him.
Very much.
I think it'd
So
be
many
difficult for him
projects.
not to make a film that was Wes Craven-esque.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a very good point. All right, guys. Well, listen, we're gonna wrap this thing up. Let me check and make sure, and no more super chats have come in, so I don't leave anybody out. All right, let me double check here. Let's see. It's refreshing. All right, looks like. Hang on, looks like we're caught up. It's kind of going a little slow. Gotta love website applications, websites. All right, let's take a look. Okay, nope, we're good. Looks like that's that we have not got any new super chats, so we're gonna leave it there.
Sorry to interrupt, but before we do go, I need to keep to my promise to officially hand you the title of the leader of the Stew is Alive movement. So there it is.
Woohoo!
It's united, Sir Craven, something scary.
Oh, I love it, Sir Craven, something scary, man. Thank you, Callum, for that. It is official now.
Absolutely, it had to. JT said that it had to be official, so it is now.
That's awesome, man. Oh, this was great stuff.
Yeah, it was really enjoyable.
Hey, do you want to tease any new articles coming up before we go?
Sure. Yeah, actually, there's yeah. Well, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to, but I've got one.
I want to get you in trouble. So
yeah, I don't know if it's. I'll tell you one that's just come out actually, and that'll keep everyone happy. So one about Sidney Prescott being a bit more like Sam in the next film.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe a bit more brutal, which would tie into what we were just saying about the next one being a bit more brutal. Because I was looking back on her, kills in the last two films, and they were worse than some of the actual killers.
Yes, absolutely.
And maybe Sydney is a little bit more, sort of tired of everything that's going on, and maybe she snaps a bit as well. So that
would be cool.
That's literally just come out, I think, yesterday. So, and there's a Scream 3 related one coming out in a couple of days, but I'll leave it for it to come out first. Just an interesting theory of maybe how Scream 3 could link into 7 again. And interestingly enough, out of all of the sequels, Scream 3 seems to be the one that has the most interesting plot points that could possibly come back in Scream 7 out of all the sequels.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, I've really struggled with Scream 2 as much as that's my second favorite. Struggled to find things that could possibly come back, but there's so many in the third one. It's amazing.
Well, and of course, me and Angelina. I'm a
Yeah,
big Angelina proponent, on her about that she was the accomplice in 3.
sure.
So, guys, listen, I put a link again right now. This is where you can go to Callum's page on Game Rant, and it's actually his bio there and his latest articles, and you can
And
just scroll. Yeah,
also as well, we've got a Fred section now. So if people do have comments and opinions, you can fire away
nice.
now, and we'll
Yeah.
possibly come back, and have a discussion, which is great.
Oh, that's wonderful,
Yeah, so that's
guys.
something
Be
new that
sure
we've
and
started doing now, which is really good.
man, this is it right here, guys. Click this link after the stream's over. Click it in the chat and go check it out and start following him on Game Rant. And yeah, that's great. You can actually interact with them there as well. So good stuff. And his articles are fantastic. He writes other
Thank you.
things other than Scream too, but tons of Scream 7 content in addition to other films. You're going to really love it. So go check it out, guys. Please. It's awesome. All
Thank
right.
you.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much. I wanted to say before we head out, one other question, real quick question from Paula that came in on earlier. She said, "Who would you
Interesting.
cast from Stranger Things?" My answer is real quick and short and easy. I would do Sadie Sink.
Oh, she's great.
Yep, that's mine.
Yeah, would you have her as a killer or a victim or?
Ooh, you know, I think she could do a great Ghostface.
Yeah,
I think she could be like a good psychotic, crazy Ghostface.
definitely.
So, how about you, man? Do you have anyone from the cast that you'd want to bring on?
I mean, she would be amazing. I mean, absolutely love Stranger Things. In fact, Stranger Things is something that we do a lot. We cover a lot at Game Rant. So there's some good articles about that on there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm trying to think who would be. I mean, all of that cast are amazing, aren't they?
They are.
Millie Bobby Brown would be a brilliant, sort of maybe Sydney's daughter. I don't know if she's slightly too
Ooh.
old, maybe,
Yeah,
depending on
maybe.
the time jump.
That's true too. That's all depends on the time jump.
Yeah, but she
Yes.
would be good. She would be great.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Oh
there's so
man.
many options.
Heck yeah. Night Watch Zone has given us all fire for the stream. Thank you, man. Glad you liked it, Night. Glad you were able to check it out tonight with us. Mr. Beer, great chatting. Same to you. All right. Well, guys, we're going to leave it there for now. But Callum, this has been a real treat, and I would love to have you back again in the future if you be up for coming back sometime.
Absolutely, 100%. I would love to. I can't believe it's gone so quick.
I
It's
know.
flown by, but I would definitely love to come back. And
Great. Awesome.
we can chat more theories. I feel like we've not even hit the middle point of all the theories that we could discuss. So I'll definitely come back.
100%. Yeah, oh yeah, there's so much more you're right we could dive into. So we'll do that.
Absolutely.
We'll definitely do that.
Sure.
Fear the Phantom wanted to ask you what your favorite horror movie is.
Well, Scream, the
Yeah.
original Scream. It has to be. It's the film that made me love movies.
Mhm.
It's the ultimate. Yeah, I can't see past that one. I love a lot of horror films, but that one, there's just nothing like it, is there?
There's not. I'm with you. It's my favorite as well. It's
Yeah.
just in a league of its own in a lot of ways. And I just absolutely love Scream.
Yeah.
I love them all, but that first one, woo,
Yeah, it was
revolutionary.
special.
It was special.
Yeah.
That's right. Good way to say it.
Definitely.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to leave it there for now. Please be sure you go and follow him on Instagram and, of course, on GameRant.com. Link is in the chat and in the description of this video. I have the links there as well. So be sure and do that. And I know he would love to hear from you over on Game Rant. You guys
Sure,
can chat.
definitely.
That would be a lot of fun too.
Definitely.
Callum, you hang tight. I'll see you backstage in a second.
Sure.
And
Excellent.
for everyone else, you guys have an awesome rest of your weekend. I just want to say this real quick. Got a couple of streams coming up. Want to make sure you guys are aware of. First one is this Thursday, the 22nd at 7 p.m. I'll be having Zach Cherry on the channel to talk about his new short film that he's currently raising funds for in Kickstarter. And we're going to talk all about that. Can't wait. And then also, 2 days later, I'll be bringing in Thomas Lorber, who played the other scenes of John Carver in Thanksgiving that Alex Armbruster did not. So Alex Armbruster played about 70% of the scenes in the costume. Thomas Lorber played the other 30%. So I'm going to have him on the channel next Saturday at 8 p.m. Central. We're going to hear all about his time filming the movie and making it as John Carver. And this will give you guys a chance to have met both of the actors that played the killer in Thanksgiving. So very excited about that. First time on the channel next Saturday. All right. On that note, thanks again, Callum. You're awesome. And
Thank
I
you.
appreciate
You
you.
too.
This was a great time.
It
And
was really enjoyable.
we'll do it again for sure.
Definitely.
We'll do it again. All right, everyone in the chat, good night. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.